Here we are on Wednesday night and with Emozin's second podcast, and I get to sit here with my awesome trainer, Andre the Beast Creighton.
What's up?
Hey, what's up? We were talking tonight, and we've been talking all day because I worked out this morning, right?
Yeah.
I worked out this morning. I've worked out every day this week, by the way.
That's good.
But we were talking about how important it is to have exercise as part of your self-care plan. I mean, y'all know I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist and meditation coach. And one of the things I say to my clients every day is exercise is the most underutilized antidepressant. And I know when I'm in there with Andre, I love his approach because he's kind of no nonsense like me. I'm like, Andre, I might throw up. He's like, go on outside and come back in. It's all in your head.
Yeah.
Anyway, we did have somebody get sick this morning.
Yeah, we did.
I was impressed she even came because you know what would I have said, Andre?
I'm sick.
I'm sick. I'm not
sick.
coming.
I'm
I
not
can't
coming.
answer my phone.
No, you don't answer the phone. No, I can't. You don't answer the phone.
But Andre's been really great. So in your own way, you're like a therapist, right? I mean, you don't deal with the emotional stuff. You're like, go talk to Krista. Don't talk to me about that shit.
You know, it's funny. They do bring that emotional piece to the gym, and that clearly validates what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
That you're going there to do both, relieve that stress.
Absolutely.
And you are kind of like their coach in a way. You're listening to them, but I'm not a licensed therapist. That's
right.
That's why I believe in partnering up with a therapist and say, look, you know, I can listen to your concerns, but you need to go this direction to get those concerns taken care of. The proper channels is what it is.
Well, and that's what I really like about all the professionals that I'm going to be having on my podcast, because I'm really authentic with my clients about, like, I practice what I teach, you know, and I'm very specific with words too, you know, because words are like proper form in lifting.
Correct.
Teach means to draw out. The root is educare. It means to draw out your own power. When you preach, it means to indoctrinate or stuff in.
What was that word again?
What?
That you just used?
Teach.
The other one before that.
Indoctrinate.
Nope, before that.
Educare.
Yes. What was that again? What does
It
that
means
mean?
to draw out. To draw out the best of you. To draw out. Educate.
I'm gonna put that on the bulletin board.
There you go.
Yeah.
Educare. Yeah.
Okay.
And when you teach someone, you draw out the best. Like a good leader inspires other leaders. They don't inspire followers.
Correct.
They inspire leaders. And that's what you do. That's what I do. I just happen to do, I sit in the middle of someone's emotional fire with them. You sit in the middle of all of that fire, because they might be crying and puking and saying, I'm dying, Andre. And Andre's like, it's all right, stand up. We got another set to do.
That didn't happen today. Actually, you can't give
Teasing.
names.
He's great. I'm not giving names.
But there was a lady that actually did break down emotionally, and this was the last session that I had, and she was she just started crying. She goes, I don't know why I'm crying.
Welcome, Jamie.
Hey, Jamie.
Hi, Jamie Bradley, my other trainer. We got all kinds of professionals around here. Come on in here, girl. Hi. Thank you for coming. Jamie, Andre, Jamie.
Hi.
He has a
What's
client
up?
for you.
Nice to actually
All kinds of
meet you.
contacts
Yeah,
here this evening.
absolutely.
These are for you, darling.
Okay.
Okay, and this mic is yours.
All right.
You've got water. Would you like wine?
No.
No? No?
Would you like a spritzer or some
you-
grapes or a fan blowing gently on you?
I'm good, I think.
So we're just talking about emotion and how you guys have to be kind of like therapists too, because the deal is, let me put this in there and you finish your sentence. You cannot heal trauma or depression without exercise, y'all. You just can't do it. I can't tell you how many times a day I say exercise is the most underutilized antidepressant. Second time I've said it tonight, by the way. Second time. So, and you were saying you had someone break down emotionally today.
Yeah, she just started, and she's a trainer. That's even more strange. She's a trainer, and today she literally broke down. She goes, I don't know why I'm crying. I don't know this, and it's our job to listen as trainers. I mean, I do a lot of talking, but I'm also listening, and she was looking for that reason why she was crying. Well, the reason was pretty obvious. You know, she was a trainer. She had previous injuries in her hip, but she hadn't been given the right treatments to overcome that. So what I figured out that the problem was not only was she overcompensating, but because she was a trainer, she felt going into a different style of training that she should have been able to perform, and her performance at that time became a handicap to her. So I had to reassure her, look, you're learning a whole different way of training, so don't let yourself go down that dark side. The job is to teach you how to do it correctly, emphasize and take what you learn and just basically alter it. That's all I'm going to do. I'm just going to alter it. And when she left there, she was like so much better. You can see that uplift happening to her. And her biggest problem now is really eating, but we'll get to that later.
I can be the subject for that one.
Okay.
We both.
Well, and the thing that I really love about the two people, my friends and trainers that I've invited here this evening, is that you guys are very emotionally aware. I mean, I've cried to Jamie before. You've never seen me cry. Jamie, my girl, has heard me cry.
I'm not doing my job.
Well, I injured myself though, because I started with Muay Thai first.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is awesome. Like, I was relieving some major aggression that I didn't know I had. Those bags are awesome, and Jamie's awesome with form. And I'm like, I think I knocked my shoulder out of sockets like the first week. I mean, I just went all in, forgetting that I'm 50, right? Thinking, oh, I got this. I'm an athlete. Things change a little bit when you get older. And Jamie was really, really, really supportive about, and Krista, it takes a little bit. It hurts at first. Mm-hmm. And so I kept up, and then I had to switch, which I told you I had to get strong everywhere, which brought me to you. And now I bring it full circle, though. Yeah, I bring it full circle. Yeah, but Jamie and Andre, they both focus on nutrition, too. What's your experience, Jamie, with people being emotional like me?
Obviously, in Muay Thai, it is a sport. So there's kind of two different realms of what I do, and
Sure.
Muay Thai in general. There is the martial art, so there's the art side of it, and then there's the sports side of it.
Sure.
And we definitely get into a whole lot more emotions on the sports side, managing emotions, egos, psyches.
Egos.
Of
I like that you
athletes.
added that.
Yeah, I mean, it's all plays together.
You need that. Oh, you got to put your mouth real close to that mic so he can hear you.
Yeah, so definitely, I think with anything, you start something new, you're unsure of yourself. That creates anxiety and stress to the body.
It did me too.
Yeah,
and just
absolutely.
walking, like you have to walk down the floor. When we were doing those drills, I was like, wait a minute, I'm a really good dancer, and I can't walk down this mat.
Yeah. I always, keep at the forefront of my mind about the amount of courage it takes to walk through the door of our gym, right? It's not just a fitness where we have some machines. There's anxiety that I don't know how to use the machines, right? But this is where people, maybe are a little more familiar with the sport, it being a combat sport. And so then they're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to get punched in the face and I'm just going to get, annihilated. So there is a whole huge level of anxiety just to get people through the door. Like, they are already freaking out before they ever step through the door. So I always like to try to just recognize the courage that it takes to step through the door, even if it's just, hey, I'm peeking around, I'm seeing what you guys are doing in here, and I'm out. Literally, I had this guy.
Really?
Oh, I had this guy call one day. Yeah, I'm going to come in. And he told me that he was a pro basketball player overseas. I'm going to come in tonight. Okay, cool. And class had started, so he was a couple minutes late. But literally, I saw the car park. He got out, his girlfriend got out, and they started walking up, and he hit the sidewalk. Foot got up on the sidewalk, and he was like, banana peel.
Not doing
cut
it.
out, yeah.
Wow.
And I went outside. I was like, hey, man, you're here. Let's go inside.
Right.
And he was like, I'll be back tomorrow. And I was like, oh, they never come back when they say that. And sure enough, I never saw or heard from him. And that's a pro athlete. Like, think about that. That's a professional athlete.
I'm
who
proud
got
of myself
really,
for coming more than once, coming
Yeah.
at it all, right?
Absolutely. Like, just recognizing the stress that a combat sport and just anything, just coming into the gym for the first time to say, you know what, I'm unhappy and I want something different, right? Being able to say that, it takes courage as well. And owning owning our story or owning where we're at.
Yeah, how did you
we
get
got
there?
Yeah. So absolutely.
That's what I like about being able to talk with you guys, because that does matter. I mean, you've trained. I mean, you guys are at the top of your game. Like, so I think both of you know, like, my kid's dad was an Olympic wrestler. So I've been around. I mean, there's a difference between good athletes and elite athletes. Like, elite athletes, I'm getting goosebumps right now talking about this. Elite athletes have this, like, you don't have that understanding of there's a wall right there that makes everyone stop, but you weirdos. Right? It's like, wait a minute, that would kill me. And you're like going, oh, like you're dragging yourself through it. And I go, okay, what's next? And I'm like, there's the difference between the top 2% and the rest of us that are better than average. And then people that just like to do it for fun, right? But being around those Olympic, like, I touched your arm earlier and I was like, okay, there's that thing that happens when people work out all the time, you know? And you can see somebody, they might look good, but when you train regularly, so here's an interesting thing, the mind-body connection, right? Like, my core, we've been working on my core, right? Throw my shoulder out. So here's what I know about my core. If your core isn't strong, you don't feel supported, right? So it's like, let's go. Every time we do the core work, that's when I go home and cry, because my core isn't supported. Or when I blew my right shoulder out, that's like the masculine side, the shoulders like carrying everybody's stuff. I was getting ready to move, right? I don't have like a male counterpart. I'm carrying everybody's stuff. So while it's not a diagnostic tool for sure, let me take it to a different way. Not about me, but I was working with a professional athlete who was a football player, and he had an issue with his hip. And we were every time we would talk about stuff with his mom, his hip would hurt. He's like, man, I got to go to training. I wait. Let's talk about this. Again, not a diagnostic tool, right? So before I knew what it was, this is how we found out what it was. You know, your left side is your feminine side, right side is your masculine side. When you're working with your hips, it's like, how do you move around? How do you move forward? How do you twist and turn? How do you see things? He was like, my mama and me. And he was like, I never thought about that before, because obviously, I mean, as an NFL player, like he's got trainers, he's got masseuses, he's got nutrition people. He doesn't have emotion people, right? And so when we don't understand trauma enough in our society. Like, emotional trauma can be when you're 2 years old, like with my son, I'm not calling him out, I didn't say his name, people know who he is, but when he was little at 2, he wanted to hold the video camera, right? I was like, no, you can look through it. Well, just a year ago, he said, I knew I was too young to hold that damn thing. I just wanted to look through it. You never let me hold it, and now I feel like I'm incompetent to do stuff. I was like, you're 24, get over it. But you know, I mean, these are the conversations, you know, it's like you say, when you've got the mind of a child, you think with the mind of a child, but then when you get older and you're working out and you're like, oh, our body stores those emotional traumas inside of us. And when we start working out and eating right and moving, that's when it comes out. And that's when you guys get the tears. You're like, oh, here's Krista's card. You might want to go talk to her about that. Or I'm like, oh, wait a minute. You guys aren't walking. I mean, all I say is, look, 10 minutes a day, walking is better than doing nothing, you
Absolutely.
know? Mm-hmm. So, sorry, I just got on a little monologue. The preacher's kid definitely comes out sometimes. But does that make sense to y'all? I mean, how do you see that in your work?
I agree 100% with that. But even something as simple as the walking, and you can validate for that, they're not going to do it. I think, you know, it's funny.
Right? People
can be on their deathbed pretty much. I'm going to use this as a prime example. True story. I had a client that their father or somebody was on the deathbed and asked them to stay in shape. Now, you would think you would honor that wish to your father. They trained for 30 days, and they went right back to their same old thing. But there's also the handicap factor that plays in that, the support group. Sometimes the support group can be the anti-support group and not really...
Yes, anti-support group.
Right,
That's good.
right. Enabling you, or they may be content with you. Well, you know what, baby, you look good doing that exercise.
Let me get you a banana split.
Yeah. Let me put some syrup on that. You look great. When really, I see that more than anything, because people will find excuses to not to do something. even when doctors tell them, you need to do this. And I go, how stupid can you be? You can't walk for 10 minutes. You can't get out of bed. But if it's your job, you'll get up because you got to get that paycheck. But you also got to be healthy to go to work. So people get mad when their bosses go off on them for being late or not showing up to work. Well, they got to pay a lot of stuff on you. They need you to go to work. Why wouldn't you want to be healthy for the next time you get sick and wind up with something terminal? And what is it now? The number one thing that's killing people now, colon cancer?
Well, what I tell you, too, to add to that, the CDC has, in their research, and this is a statement from them, 90%, that's a lot, 90% of all illness and disease is caused by stress. Stress. Not managing stress effectively. So, I mean, what you're talking about, Andre, it goes back to me. What I deal with clients is called self-care. You know, how much do you care about yourself? And I ask people regularly, how are you contributing to the stress and discomfort of your life? And one of the reasons I knew I needed to start working out is because I was doing all of it. Like, I have clients check in physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually every day. And I was like, all right, I got to get back into the physical part, you know, because there was a point where I was just like, okay, forget it. I'm not doing it for a little bit because I'd done it my whole life, you know, better than average athlete, not like training people. Although I did coach, I have coached various sports, but athletics are what kept me from being depressed. And I know I just don't feel good when I'm not in shape. So I had made a commitment to myself that, all right, it's time. You've got 6 months to get it together. I mean, I just gave myself time. And I really, really realized when I couldn't bounce around and do things like I needed to do in Muay Thai, I was like, oh, I've got to do something different. And then divine intervention, there was that offer that you give to people, a month training. I don't know if that's still going, but that's what I had. And I was like, oh, I have got to have this. I've got to have this. And so here we are, and we're all doing the same thing in our own specialties, you know, working out. And we do box over here, by the way. And you and I have talked about the difference between man's strength and women's strength, right?
Yeah. There is a difference.
There's a difference. Jamie, you do this more than I do. I will let you go ahead, and then I'll give you my non-professional athlete opinion.
You know, I have fighters, and there just is a difference. A female that weighs 135 hitting pads,
no matter how good you are,
doesn't feel the same way that a male at 135 hitting pads does.
And it doesn't.
I mean, I will say, you know, I've been at various levels of elite female athletes, and trust me when I say that chick hits hard. I mean, like, right. It's still really hard, but
it's not the same.
Yeah, you know, I don't want to go into all, you know, men versus women, and
no,
that's like a rabbit hole we could go down. But
that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying
there is
strong.
Genetically, yes, there is just physiologically how your body, hormones, all of that, how muscle mass is used. Obviously, movement patterns are the same, but how our body uses, you know, the components of it is different between men and women. So
you hit pretty hard. So I don't know where you went going. With
Are you
that.
talking to me?
Yeah, I'm talking to you.
Well, that's because of her.
Yeah,
that's because she taught me how to hit.
We was boxing the other day, and I believe Edward goes the day in the class. Edward goes, man, that Krista can hit.
Yeah.
So I said, yes, you can.
Yeah, but it's because of Jamie. You see, I got to be taught by a girl first, and then I'll take it. No, but this is, I think I told you about this example. I haven't told you about this for me, but my sport would have been soccer if they had a girls' soccer team when I was growing up. I know I'm showing my age because there's girls' soccer teams everywhere. But when I was a little girl, there were not, ladies and gentlemen. Not that long ago, because clearly I'm youthful and beautiful. But anyway, I don't need that, okay?
I believe it.
But, okay, so, and I was I was a midfielder. I started over the guys, and I'm 15. 16. It was good because I grew fast, right? I was bigger than these guys. 15, 16, I get out there, I'm running for the ball. I'm like, the hell did they put in their Wheaties today? I could not keep up with them. I mean, the guys, I was like busting their ass the year before. I could run as hard as I wanted to. I could not keep up with them. And so I was like, well, I guess I'm going swimming full time. And that's what I did. But it's just a difference. And when I was boxing with you today and you were holding they're not bags, but the
Focus
gloves.
mitts?
Yeah. I mean, my arms went numb. I could not feel them. I don't feel that when I box with a girl. I don't care how strong she is.
I'll try to loosen up next
It's like a
time.
Mack truck, Andre. It's like, oh my God.
Well, I think I do that for several reasons. First of all, I want to make sure that you're engaging your core. And I want you to know that you're going up against resistance. And when you're going up against that resistance, that's going to make you actually engage your core muscles. I don't want you really using a lot of the shoulder movement. I want you to actually engage from your core. So you're going to be tight all the time. And I'm going to come at you with that stiffness because I want you to move me out of the way. Does that make sense? Did I hit that right?
Yeah, you got it. You got it.
Okay.
That's exactly
Okay.
right.
Okay.
I always tell my people, meet force with force.
Yeah,
You know,
right. Meet force with force.
Yeah, if I'm just here and you're ripping my arms out of socket, right? And you're exactly right. Everything's got to be nice and tight. My core, my arms, everything. And I'm just bracing for impact, meeting force with force. Otherwise, you're just taking force. And in fighting, you don't really want to take much.
I'm really amazed with you. I mean, I think people need to understand for 30 days, you didn't just come in the door, and even though you was an athlete before, you had setbacks, but you came in the door. You still suffer from the same things that people do that walk in the door. You had to readjust everything that you were doing before. And I mean, something as simple as, getting you up out of bed. You was like, Andre, I'm like, hey, don't cut your phone off when I'm calling. That.
I really don't.
Yeah,
I just
you do.
turned it off at night. Not because of you. I turned it off at night. So clients can't text me at midnight.
Now, there was 1 week that I said, personally, leave your phone on. I'm going to call you to make sure you get up. And what did you do?
I turned it
Turned
off.
it off.
But it was a bad habit. I didn't do it to rebel. I just forgot. I really don't.
I think she did a
I
rebel.
I feel like we could dig deeper.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe we could analyze.
It's called denial. It's okay.
Denial,
We could
yeah.
call it denial, but I wasn't
Right.
consciously. I was not consciously doing that.
But that's good. But it teaches us as trainers to know our clients. Once I know it's almost like when I have you guys send me food. I do that for a reason, because you have a habit. Everybody does. And it baffles clients when they go, why am I sending you food? Well, in order for me to do my job, you need to do
Right.
what I need you to do.
Yep.
So I can go back and analyze, because we're creatures of habits, especially when it comes to women. Their biggest concern isn't the fact of really going in the gym. Everybody can go in the gym. It's what are you feeding yourself before you go to the gym and when you get done with the gym. And the food patterns that people have is usually an indication of the lifestyle. I can see from where they eat, where their stress levels are at. I can see where they may come into a state of catabolic, which means muscle feeding on itself. I can see where your energy spurts are at, and when they are up and when they decline. And as a trainer, it's our job to sit there and look at it and educate you and say, look, this is where you need to go. So the 30-day period that I offer people and deal with people is so I can come up with a clean, clear blueprint of getting you where you need to go. And usually it's eating, it's a combination of eating, people taking accountability, and people really wanted to change. That's the thing, because people, they want it, and you know as well as I do, I hate this word, when is it gonna happen? It sends me off the roof, because it's the most stupidest question. Let's just be
if you're
real.
in the gym, it's happening.
Yeah.
It's already. If you
if you're in the
decide
gym,
to do
it's
something
happening.
different, it's happening.
Somebody asked me today, they said, well, when is this weight going to come off? I said, let me tell you, this is what you did all your life. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Okay, another month. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, another month. Oh, welcome to the next millennium. So as long as it took you to walk into the gym, which might have been 10 years, it's going to take you that much time and effort to put in there. It's not going to come off overnight, because it didn't come on overnight. And
Well, and those habits too that you're talking about. I mean, you mentioned Muay Thai is an art and it's also a sport, right? And that's why I like the combo of both of them, because when I'm working with people, really we just have bad thought habits, just like bad eating habits, like bad exercise habits. So, yes, there's an art to therapy too, but I say the same thing to my clients. If you guys aren't going to do the work outside of therapy, I can't help you. Like becoming mindful, being self-reflective, using that first hour of your day. Once you get up, as the power hour of your day, feed yourself good thoughts, just like you feed yourself good food. I mean, we talk to ourselves more than we talk to anyone in the world. How do we talk to ourselves? I mean, do we hear that voice of, oh, there you go, screwing that up again? And that's not healthy. And it's like, come on, good job for getting up out of bed today. You know, how many people do you know that sit down and praise themselves for the things they got done today? Like,
none.
Oh, no, you do. Me.
Oh,
but
you.
I had.
Oh, I thought you were talking about my people.
I am one of your people. I'm just kidding. I'm teasing you. I've put you on the spot there. Sorry about that. But no, seriously, we got to talk to ourselves. And I know, just like if I throw out I can't do that. You're like, what did I hear you say? Right?
Yeah.
You reframe him. I don't mean to say that. Like, I had a gymnastics coach that would make me do 50 push-ups if you said I can't.
I'm going to throw that in
Yeah,
tomorrow.
no, because I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it anymore. I knew I was going to put myself under the bus there. But
I'm going to say that tomorrow.
But, not yet. I'm not yet able to do that,
The word that comes to mind for me is repetition.
Yes.
Right? We talk about all the time, people come in and there aren't a gazillion techniques in Muay Thai, right? I mean, I can isolate, there are a lot of different ways I can throw a punch or a knee or an elbow, but ultimately you've got 8 weapons, right? You can kick, you can punch, you can knee, you can elbow straight, you got 2 of each, right? But they come in, so I learned some Muay Thai. I know how to punch, right? But at what point do I do it efficiently and effectively with speed or with power, right? And I always tell people, like, literally people come in, and kicking is the really easy thing to see when people like get over the hump, where they come in and you teach them how to kick and you tell them how to kick, and sometimes you physically manipulate their body. Like, I'll hold their arm and I'll like move their leg. I'm like, this is what it should feel like. It should feel like this, and then you let them go. And it's all awkward. It's all awkward. And you keep, giving them feedback, but it's like, I'm telling you, you're still not doing it. And you literally have to let them rep it out. Yeah. They literally just need reps in the gym. And it's the same thing with thinking, right?
Absolutely.
Like, if I'm going to speak positively to myself, right, I'm not going to, one time isn't going to change the negative thought patterns I have in my mind, right? One time of pivoting my thoughts isn't going to change the way I view situations, right? Or anything. It doesn't matter. Repetition is king of all things. If I want, to get fit, I gotta, repeatedly make good food choices. I gotta repeatedly choose exercise over sedentary activities.
That just gave me goosebumps. Yeah. Repetition is the king. I saw
it is the king of all things.
Yes,
all things.
Yes, and it truly is. I mean, you're creating new neural pathways too, and when you do that, you come back to the same point of contact every day. Whether that point of contact is this meditation that's non-negotiable, or if it's this move. The minute you keep coming back, it starts to become something that is an unconscious activity. So you don't have to think about it. That's why you have to practice so much. I mean, in these hand-to-hand combat sports, you're not out there going, what'd she tell me about my knee? I mean, you got to practice it so you don't get knocked out, right? And same, well, you're a runner before you became a bodybuilder, right? Yeah. So you know that too. You've got to be running across that line to the point where you're blinded. You feel like you can't breathe, but until you get across that finish line, you're not done with that race, right? It's the same thing with me. I mean, when I'm dealing with people's emotions, a lot of therapists, there are a lot of really good therapists out there, but sometimes people come in with things that a therapist hasn't dealt with. And there's a saying in my profession that you can, well, probably yours too, but I don't know how it goes. You can only take a client as far as you've been yourself. You can only help support a client in healing as deeply as you've healed yourself. So I'm very, very committed to doing my own work. And I tell my clients, when we're done working and you've achieved your goals, if you ever go to another therapist that doesn't do his or her work, or that hasn't been to therapy, please turn around and run. I said run away. Everyone needs to be doing their work. We need to be the change we want to see. And also, what I wanted to say, when you were talking about helping, manipulate your client, or you've done that with me before. Like, look, this is the muscle you want to activate. We can't do this alone. We are designed to have people help us. Like, there's no way I would be able to lose the weight I need to lose without support, of a professional. It's the same thing mentally and emotionally, but we're not taught to deal with our emotions. And, a lot of this, in the elite athletes that I've been around in my life, a lot of times when they stop with that elite training, they become addicts. Or, I'm not saying all the time, I'm just saying because that creates such a dopamine high, that level, especially hand-to-hand combat with guys, they can stop their sport, and it's like, they get into some really hard stuff, and because they haven't learned to manage their emotions, because they were able to do that with the sport. The sport disciplined them enough, right? Mm-hmm. But when that's done, they don't know what to do with it. So that's why I'm here about the emotion flow. Mama Shaman up here helping people feel.
I think I agree. I strongly agree with what you're saying. It's about repetition.
Yes.
When I retired from bodybuilding, it was very difficult because I retired at a time I really didn't want to, but injury set in, and I was like, how do I get over the hump of not being a competitive athlete anymore? You get that binge, and that's one reason why therapy was real important to me, because I had to figure out how to rechannel that competitive side of me that still wanted to be out there, had to go out prematurely, and was like, every now and then it's in the back of your head, but then you realize you got to go on and you got to find something else to do. And therapy actually helps individuals. I don't know why people don't utilize it, especially, and I'm not saying just being a professional athlete, but just in general, it helps keeps you focused. And I'm not trained to deal with your emotions. I'll be honest. I'll listen to your emotions all day long. But I'm not trained to listen to give you advice on your emotions. And you'd be surprised how many people that I've dealt with over the years really have emotional problems. Yeah. And it's like an epidemic. And
absolutely.
If I say go to therapy, they look at you like, I'm not crazy. Well, nobody said you was crazy. Yeah. You got issues that may help you get over that hurdle, and it will actually help make your life a little bit more focused.
Yeah.
When you have mind, body, and soul, and the
absolutely.
whole 9 yards.
And good therapy really is more like emotion coaching. It's like there's a lot of psychoeducation that I do, and then I coach them to feel that emotion. And I know this happens with athletes too. If you don't breathe effectively, right, you're going to screw everything up. And which is weird. He had to teach me to breathe. I was like, I have lifted weights most of my life, except the last 5 years. I was like, oh, give me the donut. But, I come back here and I'm like, okay, wait, I've been breathing backwards this whole time. But it's the same thing with emotion. So when people start to cry, what happens?
Right.
They close their mouth, they don't breathe, and I'll look at someone and say, exhale. And the minute they exhale, there it all comes, So we have to breathe when we are learning emotion too. So that's why I really appreciate that kind of coaching. Breath is key in everything, and our core being strong is key. I don't care if we're talking about being centered at a business meeting, throwing the punch appropriately, being on the beam and doing a standing back tuck. I mean, your core has to be engaged, and that's the way it is with emotions too. Your core has to be engaged. You all can feel when people aren't present, I don't care if they're sitting there. If their core isn't engaged, they're not present. Flex your stomach muscles and pay attention to me.
I like the glass of wine you're drinking there.
It's good. I asked for it. That's why, because I had a hard day. I'm helping myself relax.
I know the viewers are like, why does she have a glass of wine there? Can I have a glass of that right there?
I'm going to tell you why. Because it's my show.
She gave us water. Scotch and soda, please. Hold the scotch.
Austin, didn't I ask Andre if he wants some wine? Thank you. I got some validation over there. See, I know. But seriously, though, and you know what I'm eating. You saw what I ate for dinner, so I didn't have to send you my food.
I saw what was being made downstairs.
And I ate
a lettuce wrapped with meat. Great, very good. High protein, high fiber. Yeah, you're on point.
I really appreciate though that you do expect me as your clients, but I'm one. So to send the food and I told you from the beginning, this is going to be my hardest thing, Andre. Was I kidding?
No.
No, I suck at it.
You think you hit it dead on the nose. You know, the point is, as trainers of dealing with clients, we want you to be just as good as we are.
Yes.
You know, and they don't understand that. And the worst thing for me to have happen is someone not giving it a try and quitting. And then you feel like that they're going to go back and go, well, he didn't do shit. Because they're not going to take responsibility, get real. They're going to eat the donuts and you're going to get the blame. But when you walk in the door, my job is to make you the best you can be. I'm not going to tolerate anything less, because you wouldn't expect me to give you anything but the best of my qualities and my service in any trainer. So you're going to work. You're going to learn accountability. You're going to learn how to what's the word you use? Repetitive.
Repetition is the key.
Repetition is the key. You're going to keep doing it until you get sick of it. If you don't like me blowing your phone up, block me. I'll get through. I'll email you.
He will. He'll be at your door.
I'll be at your door. I'll catch you at your store. I'm going to get my message through one way or another.
But I appreciate that. And I think, as a therapist, the same thing happens. Oh, therapy doesn't work. Well, have you been doing your meditations? Have you been doing your self-care skills? Have you been doing your gratitude work? Have you been walking? No. Okay, so then you can't truthfully say therapy doesn't work because you haven't been doing your work, right? And so when I'm working with clients, I mean, people think that, well, it's emotion, it's non-tangible. Well, there's proper form in feeling emotion too. So before I will go into the deep, heavy stuff, I always want to make sure my clients know how to self-soothe. It's like
somebody's speaking from experience over there. I saw that.
What's that about, Jamie?
You're going to have to tell somebody.
Nothing.
We saw that. We both saw that.
Keep going.
She got a story to tell. I want to hear it now.
Oh, my goodness.
Just say it's not my first time that a therapist has talked about these self-soothing strategies. So
right. Well, they were key for me too. Instead of, it's like everybody's like, well, you're so cool. But then when you get in a relationship with a therapist, everyone's like, well, why are you trying to therapize me? Well, I'm not. I'm just talking about feelings. People don't like to talk about feelings. That's
absolutely.
Are you sure you're not bringing the therapy session into the relationship? Be honest now. Be honest. Are you really doing that?
Well,
because
I have to trust somebody to know.
Right. I was
so
say,
how can you not bring it back in?
And so there might be a little bit of it. I'm not saying so, but it's not my intention, right? And you have to trust your partner enough.
Right.
So when somebody says that to me, it's akin to somebody saying to me, read the Bible. Well, that just shut down the conversation. I was having a conversation with you, and you're telling me you're going to pray for me, and I need to read the damn Bible. Oh, read the Bible. Sorry. Sorry, my Southern Baptist preacher's kid rehabilitation.
Did I just hear thunder outside? Was there a lightning crack?
The Holy Book cannot give me a hug. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm talking about, right? Okay. So if somebody says, pray for me, or read the Bible, or you're being a therapist, I am a therapist. So sorry about that. How do I do this? You know?
It's kind of like what was on a resume when you dated her. So
yeah, this isn't new information.
Yeah.
So I want to trust you enough to not be that. That's the whole thing. When I was talking about, I practice what I teach, right? Educare, draw out. I don't think you were here when we were saying that. I use teach instead of preach because to teach means to educate or draw out, right. The root being educare. And you guys both have been teachers, right? And I'm not going to preach because it means to indoctrinate or stuff in. I want the soul and to come out and to shine, right? And that's why I do what I can do, but I need people that do other things that I can't do, like train, like teach people how to eat, to the point where sometimes I will go out on a hike with clients, and we'll see what we can see and listen, and we won't talk. Just listen to what you don't listen to, because we miss that moment of being present. And when you're working out, you have to be present or you're going to hurt yourself. That's another thing. If you're not present, you're going to pull a knee. I did that one day. And Andre, I know I didn't hurt myself in your room. It showed up after it. My shoulder would just drop out of socket. But with Andre, a couple of times my shoulder and my knee has popped out of socket. I'd be like, oh my gosh. He's like, come here. And he moves me in a certain way where I'm like, oh, I don't need to be dramatic right now. It's totally
back and
fine.
finish his
Just go
set.
back and finish that set. That's exactly. But I literally would be out. He's like, all right, you can finish that now. But anyway, yeah, Jamie is. You guys have both been very instrumental in helping me get back into wanting to get in shape. Which takes you to the relationship thing. Andre, we were talking about this morning, sapiosexuals. That was a conversation.
Don't expect me to say that word again. I'm not going to get it right.
Well, so sapiosexuals, it means that somebody that has to be intellectually attracted before they can, like, develop feelings for you, right? But then we got to the point of, but you kind of have to be attracted. There's got to be something that pulls you in, right? Which goes back to working out. Like if you're in shape and you look healthy and lively, there's that part of, oh, I'd like to get to know them. But just because you look good doesn't mean someone's going to be attracted to you. And that brings in the intellectual part of it, right?
I think, like I said, I'm not a therapist.
But
I'm
kind of.
Wait a minute, let me do this again. I stayed at a Red Roof Inn.
Right, right.
So I'm a therapist right
Qualified.
now. I was telling you this was just my theory. If you look at the something like the Darwin theory, and you look at animals, the first thing that happens to me that I see happen with people is the first indication is physical. You look at that person physical, and you determine whether or not that's how we determine whether or not we're going to move to the second base.
Yeah.
Then we start the conversation part of the situation. But to me, it always starts with the physical standpoint, because if you look at animals in the wild, which we are still animals, we're just Homo sapiens, the strongest buck or the strongest animal is the one that's going to get the females. I mean, it's a no-brainer. We're not that much different from our ancestors and the animals of the wild. Physical is first. Everything else comes down the pipeline. I could be wrong. I'm not the therapist.
No, that's true.
Did you stay at the Red Roof Inn last night, too?
No.
Okay, but you're the therapist now, so you can answer that whether or not I'm right or wrong.
I'm missing the Red Roof Inn joke. I'm just going to pretend like I understand it.
Well, it goes like this. Cool. When a guy goes, like you called me a therapist, he goes, well, I stayed at a Red Roof Inn last night. We're giving them shots out so we can get that sponsorship dollar.
Oh.
It's a commercial, Krista.
It's a commercial.
Thank you. Watch more TV. Hashtag.
See.
Hashtag Red Roof.
Hashtag Red Roof Inn. Hashtag. Thank you.
Good.
See, we got to say Red Roof Inn even more.
4 times.
Yeah.
4 times.
Because of my ignorance. So thank you. See what teaching does?
Educate.
Educate. Yes, educate. So but that's really important. There's a book called, I forget the author. I apologize. This is just coming like off the cuff here. It's a book called The Female Brain.
Okay.
And it talks about what Andre just said about the man that can get the woman is going to be the alpha, right? And there are these little things called pheromones that we end up smelling or not smelling unconsciously, right? But a woman can be totally in love with her husband and be on an elevator. Say she's on a company trip, and I'm not talking about infidelity or anything here. I'm talking about just the alpha stuff that happens because we're animals, like you were talking about. She can be on the elevator. This guy can walk in. Let me just go with my fantasy. Jason Momoa walks onto the elevator. And the one thing I love about him, though, is that he loves his wife so much. That's what makes him even cuter. Like, he's got a really, really great attitude about his family. He's committed and dedicated, and he loves her. It's just beautiful people. But he's definitely one of these guys that makes me go, hi. I don't know that I'd be able to speak. I'm kidding. I know how to behave. I know how to act right. But I'm just telling you, like, in line with what I'm talking about regarding the female brain, I mean, those are all physical things that we have no control over. Biological reactions to beautiful people are normal and natural. And if we don't understand that, our relationships kind of break down, because we are humans, we're the only mammals that have that neocortex. Like every other mammal has up to the mammalian brain, and then humans, I don't know about dolphins and apes at this point. They might have a little bit of a neocortex, but the neocortex is what enables us to go, is this right or wrong, and have memory and all that kind of stuff. This is not like neuropsychology 101. I'm just talking for my story. So in any event, as you go on and there's this stuff going on, you got to realize there's biological reactions. Just because someone is beautiful and you think, wow, wow, and you just want to stare at them a little bit, that does not mean you need to be in a relationship with them. That does not, it's not what that means, you know? So, I mean, we're talking about integrity, commitment, you know, this is another thing, sorry for my huffy breath, as my kids would say. I was just thinking about how I'm practicing what I teach right here. How do I contribute to relationships that don't work? Like I always ask when I have couples come in, instead of saying, hey, tell me what's going on, I want this half of the couple to go, tell me 5 things that you do to make this relationship not work, and tell me 5 things that you do. You cannot mention her, him. You can't mention your partner. You got to tell me why you all are here. And it's got to be on your turf, not his or hers. So it's pretty interesting. People have a hard time self-reflecting. You know, just like you were saying, they'll come work out for a little bit. They don't do their work, but it's your fault they didn't lose weight, whether they didn't do their work or not, right? Right. So that's why therapy is so bad, because it doesn't help. Well, how much work did you do? None. How many times did you go? 2. Oh, okay. Well, yeah, therapy wouldn't work, right? So, yeah. What are you thinking about? I can see those wheels. Can you see that?
I really want to ask her how many people she's knocked out.
Jamie? Yeah. I want to ask you that too. How many people have you knocked out, Jamie?
None.
Really? No. Okay. That's in professional fighting. Okay, like outside of the gym. How many people have you knocked out? So one of the things about Jamie, she's the only female professional Muay Thai coach.
Yeah. I like that. That's why I was asking how many people she knocked out.
That's it. She's a badass.
Or tapped out. How many people? You
Hashtag badass.
Yeah.
No, I'm not all that. I appreciate.
She
that.
really is. It's okay. That's why I
that.
love her. She really is, y'all.
I'm a student of my craft. Mm-hmm. You know, even as the therapist, like you said, you're still working your game plan, right? I'm still doing my own work, and you know, for me. My journey has been twofold. I have the fitness side of things. You know, that's how I got into Muay Thai, was kind of going back to what you were saying earlier. I was a college athlete. I was on a full ride at Butler, playing softball, and I graduated, and then I always tell people I continued to eat like I was a college athlete, and I didn't work out like I was one. You know, and that's how I found Muay Thai. I was 235 pounds, and I was like, something has to change. And I was actually teaching, by schooling, I'm a licensed health and wellness teacher. Okay. So at the time, you know, I'm 235 pounds or whatever it was at that time. And I was a wellness teacher. So here I am telling kids all about why you should do physical education and why you should, you know, take care of yourself. I was like the worst model for anyone, right? I mean, ridiculous.
Self-reflection.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, absolutely. And my journey is never ending. You know what I mean? Right. I've my entire life, I mean, I did Weight Watchers in high school, and right now I'm not where I want to be, right? So to me, though, like you talk about education and teaching, and you know the gym name Crew Fit. Crew is the Thai word for teacher.
I love that.
Yeah, and so it's kind of a play on the fact that I'm a licensed teacher, right, in the state of Indiana. But it's also just about like my passion is teaching people to be fit, but to me that's not just physical, right?
Exactly.
Like the journey is emotional, it's spiritual. Like Muay Thai is deeply rooted in a lot of Buddhist principles, right? You know, it is almost a spiritual experience, you know, and it's just,
you can feel it. I mean, I had the blessing of going to a professional event that you put on, and I was like, wow, because I've been to a lot of like hand-to-hand combat competitions.
Yeah,
Muay Thai is very different. Very respectful.
Very
it elevates you just watching it.
Yeah. There is this culture and this kind of code of honor that goes with Muay Thai. You know, and it kind of goes back to asking like, how many people have you knocked out outside of the gym? And really, it's kind of that ingrained, like, as you learn your strength, right, you no longer feel like you need to dominate other people.
Beautiful.
Right? You know, like I don't feel like I need to go looking for trouble or assert my power over people. You know, I'm content to allow you to believe that you could.
But
I will tell you, if you gonna start it,
I'm gonna finish it. I'm gonna go.
I will finish it if you start it, but I will try to keep it from going there.
Because I don't really want to hurt you, but you're gonna get hurt.
If you're gonna start it, I will finish it. But I'll try to avoid it at all costs.
That was great. Yeah, that's so funny. It's like, yeah, and I think that's where, we were talking when people say to me in relationship, well, quit therapizing me. Well, I know what my strengths are. I would never, I respect other people's strengths. I don't want to be intimidating or throw stuff out there, that makes me seem like I'm not engaging. And I'm saying this because I like what you said about the humbleness. Be humble, just chill, relax, and I wish more people could do that. And
that's culture designed to need validation. I mean, right? I mean, it's all connected, and again, going back to fighters, there's so much ego in fighters and elite athletes.
Yes, there is so much ego. But the thing is, knowing when you, I have a lot, or I had a lot of friends. My friend group over the course of my life, I think for all of us, has changed a lot. And at this point in my life, my friend group, they're like sacred to me. Like, we nurture each other, and the roots grow deeper, and we're very, very, they're family. They're my family. But I'm not competitive with them. When I hear friends talking about being competitive with each other, I mean, it's okay if that's what floats your boat. That's okay. I'm not saying I'm not going to kick your ass in a game of Uno or euchre or something like that. I mean, I might be competitive about that, but I'm not going to compete like, oh, I got a better job than you. I'm happier than you. My house is cleaner than yours. My yard looks better. That's not what I'm about. At one point in my life, that's what I was surrounded with, and it just makes you feel bad. There's no soulful connection, and so know what your strengths are and be humble about them, and share them when necessary, but lift other people up. I think that's what a true leader, I'm kind of changing the subject here a little bit, that's kind of what a true leader ends up looking like to me. How to lift other people up and create this community of sincere, legit connection, to where when you're feeling like you're breaking in half and you feel alone, like you hear a lot. I'm thinking of I don't know, there are people that can't afford their diabetic medication now, I've got friends that will make sure people have their diabetic medication, It's like I just hear the stories, and people are so real, and they really care about each other. And that's the kind of community that I want to create. And that's what I want to do here, and keep lifting people up. Hey, this is what I do. I still manage an anxiety disorder from dealing with complex post-traumatic stress for, just things that happened when I grew up. I'm not saying my life is any worse than anyone else's. I'm just being real about what I have to deal with. And I don't suffer from anything. I manage it effectively. I have a very happy life. I'm very happy. And good therapy, good training, it doesn't mean you don't have stressors. It means you know how to stand in the fire and get through it successfully. You have enough confidence in your competence to work through anything that life throws at you. And we all know, we all know up here, life doesn't really care if you're down on your knees saying, please don't give me anything else. It's like somebody's up there going, well, let's give her 2 more, 3 things, 2, 3, 4, 10 more things that might break her, and see how she can handle this. And you're going, oh, you can't make this up. And somehow on those kinds of days you crawl to work and you get through it, and you're like, I got this. And so that's what training, physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, repetition, keep doing it. Man strong versus woman strong. You got to have those experiences. It's like holding salt and sugar in your hand. You have to experience it. If I just show you salt in this hand, sugar in this hand, they look the same. You don't know until you taste it what the difference is, really. So you've got to feel it. You've got to get out there and embody what you're teaching. That's why I like having people on this show that embody what you teach, because I respect the heck out of both of you. You've taught me a lot. So
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Means a lot.
No, well, I'm not bullshitting you.
We'll find out
Don't
tomorrow.
call me in the morning.
Right.
We'll find out tomorrow.
When I knew I was going to have to box him today, I was like, oh my God. And then the thing that happens, I don't know, speaking of repetition, like I'm trying to break through it. I told Tina this the other day because you were talking to E about it. So we'd be going, and he's like, faster. And then I just like, like the minute and then if he says slower, I'm like, I'm actually okay. If he says that, it's like a total mind game with me. It's like, faster.
I'm trying. I'm going as
That's as fast
as
I can do it.
Yeah, right. We'll find out tomorrow.
Yeah, I know. That makes me nervous.
You'll find out tomorrow what's going on. I have a question. I know it's kind of odd. What would you tell? How would you? I have a guy that I'm getting ready to send to you.
Well, thank
Never
you.
thought about it, but what would you tell somebody that's trying to become a professional? He's 25 years old. That's all I know. I haven't met him yet. I meet him Saturday, and then
And he wants
That's a
to be
great
a
question.
professional fighter.
he wants to be a mixed
Martial arts, yeah,
artist.
MMA.
Yeah.
MMA.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, MMA fighter.
Oh, and he's 25 and he has no background.
Well,
I don't.
No, I'm just trying to get.
he's been
just trying to get all the facts.
I'm on the outside. That makes me giggle.
There
I'm
was
just
no
saying.
judgment there.
He's
I
been-
think there might have been a little.
he's been interviewed by me through his father, and I talked to him on the phone. He says, Andre, I'm eager. I'm hungry. I'm going to be the next, bantamweight thing. I said, wait a minute, man. I like the vision, but
Yeah.
you got to have your ducks in a row. Who's teaching you these things
Right.
and stuff? So, with that said, what would you recommend for somebody that wants to be
Yeah.
in that particular occupation?
Yeah. Obviously, I was kind of getting at, 25 is kind of a late start. Especially Muay Thai is going to be an Olympic sport. So it's really a super exciting time for Muay Thai. Like, people don't know what Muay Thai is, but in a few years, people will be able to turn on their TV and they'll be able to see it in their living room. And I mean, we're so far behind, karate, taekwondo, right? All these other combat sports, jiu-jitsu, all of that. And so when you look at, obviously, training, again, reps, starting at 25, if he's never done anything before, he's starting behind these people that are on the stage that he wishes to be at. Does not at all mean that he can't get there. It means that, like you said, where are you getting coaching? Where are you getting reps? How often are you getting, are you in the gym 7 days a week? Are you in the gym 2 and 3 hours? I have an athlete right now. Literally, this chick comes in. She'll do our morning classes in the morning, 5:30 to 6:30 in the morning. She goes to work. She comes back in the afternoon, and then she'll do 2 or 3 more hours of training. So literally, this girl right now is on a mission. She loves Muay Thai, but MMA is her end goal. That's where she wants to get to, and life has happened. She gained weight, right? So I love this craft. I love this art. I want to come in. I want to lose weight. I want to get back to my goal. And she's grinding 4 hours a day.
Wow.
So again,
That's impressive.
If your boy has the vision and he's got the work ethic
Right.
to go with that vision, and then again, going back to, is he able to align himself?
Alignment.
I'm going to
Good
go,
word.
to San Diego this weekend because I need to have somebody who's doing something at a higher level than me give me information. In 2 more weeks, I'm going back out to California for one of my mentors who is the most elite coach in combat sports right
Wow.
now, Kieran Fitzgibbons, who runs CSA Gym. You wouldn't even know him, but once you do follow him and
Yeah.
see him, you'll start to see him in the corner of every UFC, Bellator, every
Wow.
event. He's got fighters.
there. He's the man.
He's the man right
Yeah.
now. Yeah, for certain. And it's not like he just is the man overnight. He has had a system and athletes, right? And again, all things are becoming more popular and getting more,
Right.
kind of visual. People are being able to see it more accessible to everybody. So again, you got the vision, you got the work ethic, you got the alignment piece. Absolutely, I'm not gonna hate on anyone's dream, and I'm a growth mindset person.
Very much.
So absolutely, I believe if that is the goal, and in fact the work ethic and the commitment is there, then yeah, absolutely.
Okay, well, you'll see him Saturday.
That's awesome. Well, I will be in San Diego, but he can come in.
He seems eager, so I
Yeah.
just told him. I said, "Well, man, it's a journey, but I can't speak on behalf of that because that's not my profession. But I'm gonna make sure that I guide you to where you need to go to somebody that does know how to do it."
That's awesome. Thank you.
I have a question about MMA, and I know I've heard you talk about this before too. With Muay Thai, you were doing. I was in there one day. We were doing I don't know. I want to say inside trips. That's a wrestling thing.
Sweeps.
Sweeps. Thank you. Thank you.
Muay Thai sweeps.
Because I got corrected really fast because I was taking
All my people
somebody
that
down.
watch this, they're like, oh, because I just did sweeps yesterday and I totally swept the same chick I was talking about. So,
but it was fun. I was like, and
Oh
Jamie's
my
like, no, don't hook your leg.
Yeah,
No,
you can't
don't
heel
do
hook.
that.
Yeah, you can't heel hook in Muay Thai. There are rules about it.
But it was pretty fun. But where I'm going with this, you've said it before. You have too. Where do you guys send your MMA people to do groundwork? You don't like to be on the ground, right?
Yep. Muay Thai does not go down to the ground. So right now, there are other super qualified coaches in Indy for BJJ. Right
so
now,
you would go to jiu-jitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay.
Most.
Just for those of us that didn't know what BJJ was.
Yeah, absolutely. Brazilian jiu-jitsu. So typically a lot of mixed martial artists are a combination of Muay Thai for their stand-up striking and Brazilian jiu-jitsu for their ground game. Like, in my opinion, that's what makes the most complete fighter. But, there are some people that have a karate background as their stand-up. And then, obviously, it's...
Or you hear the really good boxers go, just don't get taken down.
Yeah, well, that's, you're tapping right in. You set it up. Woo! Way to go.
I'm good at my job.
People are always like, you need to learn Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Fights always go down to the ground. And my answer to that is always, fights start on our feet.
Yes, they do.
Like, I don't just fall on the floor and be like, come fight me, right? Like,
just
I'm
stand up.
I'm on my feet, right? Now, obviously, I might get ambushed, right?
Sure.
Something that puts me on the ground, and I need to know how to do a few things down
A
there.
few things, but you don't have to be an expert at it.
No, well, here's the other thing I'll say, again, repetition. I run women's self-defense seminars, and here's kind of my my plug about why Muay Thai is great for self-defense, right? Number one, it's large motor skills, right? Kicking, kneeing, and elbow strike. It's pretty easy to pull off, and it's very effective. And when I look at some of these other seminars where they're like telling you to take the wrist and bend this back and do this and do that, right? If I've done it one time, to be able to do something under pressure, right? When I have adrenaline and fight or flight thrown through me.
You're not really thinking.
No,
you
right?
can't.
Like again, my body is going to do what it knows, and if I've repped it 1,000 times, the likelihood, or 10,000 times, the likelihood of me being able to pull it off under pressure is much greater. And again, being able to strike with my knee to the groin, I'm pretty certain I'm gonna hit that target. Like, pretty certain I can pull that off right now. But like trying to twist and break and
that's not gonna happen.
There's too many things at play here. Like, it's just super complicated, and that's probably one of my biggest kind of negatives about these complicated women's.
So keep it simple.
Yeah, it is.
Right?
It is. Keep it simple.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
Andre says that a lot.
Word. Keep
There
it
you
simple,
go.
stupid.
That's right.
Don't make it over complicated.
Yeah.
So do you recommend women learn how to do that, the Muay Thai?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes, because see how I hit? You know how hard I hit?
I know. I've seen. I've witnessed the power.
That comes from Jamie. She transferred it to me.
That came from E. You know when E recognizes something, you got to acknowledge. He goes, and he didn't say it until you. He waited till the day to say, she can really hit.
That's how he sounds too.
Yeah, I was like, okay, well, you put the mitts on next time, and you let her hit you a little bit.
No, yeah, I know. You and E. No, so E is he like 6'3"?
Yeah.
He's huge, and he'll just go, and he's real. And Andre was teasing me. He goes, E, quit watching her. You're not going to get better watching her hit. He's going, well, she can hit.
Yeah, she can hit.
That's awesome.
The gloves
That's
sound.
awesome. Way to go.
The gloves
Thank
sound
you,
off.
Jamie. See,
love
I
it.
paid it forward.
I love it.
So, and by the way, speaking of process, when you have a goal, how many times have I talked to you about doing something like this, or a workshop, or a women's defense class? 2 years, couple of years.
Yeah, it's been in the making.
It's been in the making, right? But when you have a goal, this is the whole thing. When you have a goal, y'all, you've got to write down where you want to be 3 months, 6 months, a year, and you don't let it go. It's not something that happens overnight. Like losing weight, When's it going to happen? Well, if you got your butt up and got in the gym, it's already happening, right? Because you're doing something different than you did the day before. So my whole point of doing this podcast is bringing people in that have helped me on my journey, because like I said, we got to attach to people that can teach us and help us and if I break down crying in the gym, you got to know it's okay to say, hey, suck it up, Buttercup. You're not done with that set. You can cry afterwards, right? And know that I'm not going to freak out.
Or when you get sick, go in there and
throw up.
And come back out.
Yeah.
Another set.
I haven't done that yet, but we had someone do that.
You haven't
this morning.
did that yet?
No.
That's my mission tomorrow.
Yep.
I might cry right now. In any event, but yeah, is there what as we're closing up, I'm going to share some of the things that I say to myself to kind of get myself up and why I'm grateful for the people that help me. If you guys would kind of share that too, because it's like, people look at those that help them heal and they think, oh, they've got it all together. Well, right. Some days,
I wish,
right? Yeah. Not every day. And I think if we can keep it authentic and keep it real, then people will go, okay, maybe I can do that too, Mm-hmm. So one of the things I started with my own kids a few years ago, I borrowed from Gandhi, be the change you want to see. I mean, even if it means going through the drive-through and making eye contact with a person going, oh my gosh, your hair is so pretty, or your skin is so pretty. I mean, that's stuff I say. I would do it anyway, but I also make eye contact with homeless people, and I've brought a homeless man with me more than once to Subway or had lunch with him and heard his story. Human beings connect. Healing happens human to human. It doesn't happen trainer to client. It doesn't happen doctor to patient. It happens human to human. So we've got to know ourselves well enough and our own stories well enough to be able to share that, to get to the other side, so people are inspired. Oh, maybe I can do this too. So be the change I want to see, like really surrounding myself with people that are smarter than me about some things, that are better than me about some things, but also I want to be able to give back. And when I say better than, smarter than, I don't mean it in a put down, you're better than me way. I just mean you've done your work, you know more about that stuff, smarter than me about that. So every day, I'll get up and I'll have one thing that I want to do. I sincerely practice this power hour, even if I'm laying in bed and it's one of those days where I'm like, oh my God, I overslept training. What am I going to do today to make up for that? I'm not saying it's perfect every day, right? That's what I'm saying. Some days we don't have it together. Or we get it together, but you know what I'm saying. It's like, I'm really grateful that I have my health. That's one thing. Even when I'm sore, I'm really grateful I have my health. I'm really grateful I have people that also want to be the change they want to see. And I go to bed being grateful for that. And I don't just mean saying, oh, I'm grateful I have electricity. I mean, really conjuring that feeling of gratitude. And this is important to know, because gratitude actually affects the levels of neurotransmitters in your brain, like antidepressants do. I see you nodding your head over here. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
And it's the feeling of gratitude. Feeling is where healing happens. So you've got to feel it to heal it. You got to name it to tame it. So those are some things that I do. Surround myself with people that are smarter than me, people that'll call me on my own stuff. I like to be called out if I'm doing something that's hypocritical. I try not to, but I trust my people to tell me if I'm being my own worst enemy, which is usually the case, right? Aren't we our own worst enemies?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. And the other part, just be the change you want to see. Be kind to yourself first and foremost. So there's that from me. There's my. If you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all. Didn't Cowboy Bob used to say that? I'm showing my age again. Cowboy Bob.
Who was he?
Tumbleweed, was that his dog?
I got nothing.
Oh, you guys. Okay, well, all right. Somebody's going to comment on that.
You're showing your age.
It's all right. I'm young at heart. So what do you guys do, to keep it real?
The quote that kind of came to my mind, so the last time I fought was in 2014, and then since then I have had a very long road of ACL knee surgeries, 3 of them, so all on the same.
I was going to ask, yeah. Okay.
So it's been a long road, but regardless of any of that, when in 2014, a phrase that I used, I went to Oklahoma and, fought in Oklahoma, but this phrase was, I carry the strength and courage of so many people inside of me.
Oh, wow.
And that's what I tell my fighters, and it's what
that.
when we wrap up fight camp, I really make sure that all of our members in the gym understand that you were here, you were sweating in class with them, you were pushing them, you were telling them one more, go faster, you got this, you held pads for them, you lifted with them, you ran sprints with them. Like, you invested in them, and while they travel the distance and they step in the ring, and while fighting is just one person in that ring, but it's not. I'm stepping in with the strength and the courage of so many people inside of me. And I think when we keep that, it's not just me doing this, because a lot of times we're like, well, I can't do that. I'm not strong enough to do that. I don't have the discipline to do that or whatever. And it kind of goes back to like finding those people and getting, invested in them, and vice versa, and using that to push you forward. So that's one kind of the phrases that I use to my fighters a lot.
I love that. Thank you, Jamie. The Beast. What you got?
I just believe in just telling people there is no tomorrow. Get up, do what you need to do, quit making excuses. Family, friends, religion, they all go together. Make that your center core, but remember, there is no tomorrow. Start doing stuff today. Get up and do what you need to do, and stop making excuses. Nobody's going to hold your hand. The world's going to kick you in the ass every freaking day, and you need to realize that nothing's going to come easy to you. You got to get up and you got to work for it.
Yep. Right.
But you surround yourself with positive people that, I agree with you. If I can't do something, I'm going to find somebody that can do it.
Yep.
Plain and simple. Right now, we live in a golden age where information is everywhere, and if you're suffering from something, there's somebody out there that can help you with whatever you are having problems with.
Absolutely.
I like that. Sound like a couple of leaders I like being around. To me. Thank you, guys. Yeah. Thanks. So I'm really glad you guys came here tonight. Next week, I'm gonna have my brother Nathaniel McGuire back on here.
I like him.
He's good. You haven't met Nathan.
I have not. No.
We're going to be talking about the difference in how you discern between a true mental health crisis and a spiritual crisis. And they're completely different. Yeah. And a lot of people miscalculate a spiritual crisis for a mental health crisis, and they get medicine. And when it's a spiritual crisis, the medicine will make it worse. So yeah, we'll
look
go
forward
on from
to
there. Yeah, it'll be good. It'll be a good conversation.
I'll be listening to that one.
Because cousin Nathan too, right? Me and Nathan up here talking. We'll be conjuring angels and demons up here on this table. I'm telling you, we'll be going right. Thanks, Austin. It'll be a good night. I'll bring my smudge
angels
stick.
and demons in Studio J. I don't know how I feel about that.
Well, you got to, we might be in disguise already, sir. I'm just saying.
That's true. We've already got at least one demon in here.
But anyway, thanks for joining us all tonight. Is there anything else you guys would like to add? Because I got some wisdom around me. I want to make sure I don't leave anything out.
No, just make sure that people contact you, because mental health is it's where it starts. You can't even walk in your gym or my place if this mind isn't right. And forget the stereotypes, things that you hear about, therapy, and you're crazy. You're crazy if you don't go.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to be able to focus if you don't get this mind right. And and I know as athletes, if this ain't right, we ain't going for the gold. Plain and simple.
You're not. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. As a therapist, I just thought of those ski jumpers. I would have to be I'd have to go to therapy if that was my sport.
Me too.
Oh my God.
Right.
Yeah.
But athletes are some of my favorite people to work with, because we have this. I consider myself an athlete. I'm not elite, but I'm good. And there's a structure to athleticism that supports good mental health. Yeah. And so, find a sport, find a good therapist, find good friends, and good food, and
a glass of wine.
Thank you. Because you know what? Like Andre said, there is no tomorrow, so now's a good time, isn't it?
That's right.
There you go.
So drink your face off.
I sipped. Look, I've had this wine, y'all.
I was talking about me.
Okay. So, and be kind. All right, be the change you want to see. We're all in this together. Thanks for showing up tonight, spending some time with us.